The town that I went to school in was boring. Oh my goodness, the school did its best to have things to do, but the town itself was just not it. Despite all that, there was one day that I attribute as being one of the most important days that I've experienced so far. At the time, I was teaching an animation workshop, and that was a lot of fun. But I had a couple of friends who first attended the animation workshop, but then they started running their own, where they were teaching people how to play the ocarina, you know, like from Zelda. We wanted to make a booth for it, and we wanted it to be vaguely Zelda themed, because like that's the audience that was going to come to this workshop, were Zelda fans. So we decided we were going to build this like castle wall out of cardboard as just kind of a thing to make the table look grandiose and really, really, really slick. And so we spent the day putting together this castle wall, and after it was done, we sat back and we're like, okay, that was great. We're a little bit hungry. There's nothing to do here, so we're going to hang out where we always hang out, the local McDonald's. We started playing just fun get-to-know-you games because this was still pretty early on in our friendship, and it seemed like a fun thing to do. One of the games we were playing is the classic Never Have I Ever. One of my friends said, never have I ever met a YouTuber. And I heard that and I just kind of paused and I'm like, why not? You know, the entrance fee for being a YouTuber is nothing. You make a video, you put it on the internet, and you let people see it, and that's it. Congratulations, you have solved being a YouTuber. You have done it. You can add that to your resume now. Congratulations. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's try this out. I guess it was not really a blog post. It was just kind of like this checklist image on Pinterest, because that's where ideas come from, Pinterest. And it had a list of daily blogging prompts. And I figured, you know, instead of just blogging, let's make a video. Let's make a video talking about each topic on this list. Whatever comes from that, comes from that. And I think I'll find the kinds of videos that I love making the most. One of the topics was, who is your favorite superhero? This was maybe 2 weeks into the challenge, and I said, okay, cool. And I made a video about how much I love Superman. I took this action figure right here, this Superman, and I took it to the local park, and I was just flying it around while wearing a Superman t-shirt and a cape at this local public park. I'm sure I looked hilarious. It was a lot of fun. And then at the end of it, I just started talking about how much I liked Superman. I made a couple more videos, but I realized, you know, the most fun I had was talking about the superheroes, talking about comic books and Superman. I mean, that's one of my biggest passions in life, so it made a lot of sense. And then I just started making some videos. I picked a couple of comic books that I liked. The first one I picked was this, it was Superman versus Doomsday. What was it called? I think it was just called Superman Doomsday. And it was cool. I had a lot of fun with it. And I just kept going. And things just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger as I went. Now, those early days, they were nuts. I basically just had like a stack of books sitting on top of my desk, and then I had my little iPhone 4, this dinkiest little thing, and I had it set up on the table, and it was just making video of me talking about comic books in my little tiny corner in the dorm room. Like I said, running the animation workshop, and I switched over to the comic book one, and it just did this huge deep dive into everything that made comic books work. You know, I learned all about writing, I learned about drawing and layouts and the relationship between all of them. I set up the workshop so that it was run better than it ever had been before. One of the bigger elements that helped me get that position was I had Comic Crash, and I showed them what was up with that, and like my passion for comic books through that. And now Comic Crash kind of became a place where I could practice things. I could try out new editing ideas that I've been thinking about. I could try out new camera movements that I've been thinking about. Eventually, I started getting occasional video work from people because I had the experience. I've been running Comic Crash and I've been doing that kind of thing. I've been able to meet some really cool people this way too. Like some really, really good friends came from doing Comic Crash. You know, I either met them at an event or we were chatting around afterwards, or like this was a get to know you thing. And a lot of my life has changed because of this channel. And as I'm recording this earlier today, I hit 1,000 subscribers. And wow, it means a lot to me that many people saw me just talking about comic books and said, you know what, yeah, I like that. I want to see more. And so I really wanted to hop on here and just make a quick little thing just to say thanks. I couldn't have done this, obviously, without you. And it's so cool to have so many people believe in what I'm doing enough here to subscribe and say, yes, I want to see more. That just... yeah, it's really, really neat. And I'm very, very thankful. And look, we're not done. There are so many projects in the works right now that I'm just so excited to share with you guys. Several video ideas that I have in mind that are extremely relevant to what's going on here. You know, that's the kind of thing I love doing most on this channel, is taking these fictional subjects that we see in comic books and explaining why they're important to understand in our real world. That's always been my favorite thing to do with these. I also really love doing deep dives into characters, and there's definitely more with that coming up. I have several ideas for characters that I want to do really big deep dives with. There's specific comic book storylines that I'm really, really excited to dive deep and dig into. There's a couple that I've been writing for the past little bit that are huge. They're going to be ginormous, and it's going to be really, really interesting and exciting to see them. So there's always more coming. And I'm very, very excited for that, and I'm very excited to go on that journey and take 1,000 plus of my closest friends with me. But anyway, like I said, there's been a lot of changes to the channel as time has gone on. But one of the things that doesn't really change, that I've found hasn't really changed, is the sign-off. Because I think it really is important. I think it is important to remember that despite anything that's going on, it's important to do the best that you can. It's one of the lessons we keep seeing from comic books. It's the big overall hope that we add some positivity to the world, that I am able to add some positivity to the world through this channel. So have a great weekend. Thank you for watching, and remember to always be your best self.